Just in 10 minutes, we are going to discuss about creating dynamic titles for visuals using DAX. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. Hello viewers, the JTM series videos are aimed to provide a quick learning within 10 minutes. Please let us know your thoughts on these videos in the comments section. Let me move to the demo mode right now. Okay, here is the first scenario. I have a plain simple line and stacked column chart in which month names are used in the x-axis while bill value is being shown in the primary y-axis and the transaction count is being shown in the secondary y-axis. We do have a title for the visual which says monthly statistics for all periods. You may now ask me a question, Raja, where is the possibility of you calling for a dynamic title for this visual? Please have a look into the two slicers sitting on the top of the visual. One of them comes from the fin year column of the FY date table and the second slicer comes from the QTR column of the same date table called FY. So this date table is going to provide two slicers to control this visual either in terms of a selected financial year within which a particular quarter or maybe just one quarter for all the financial years. In which case, if I am going to select any value from any of these slicers, my chart's title should accordingly change. For example, I am going to choose fin year 2020 to 2021. You can see how the visual's title has changed now. I can also choose a particular quarter for the given financial year. Now you can see how the title has changed. There is another possibility that some user may want to see the Q4 values consolidated for all the financial years, in which case the title should speak something different. Now you are able to see the dynamic titles that are available for this visual, and your question may be how you are able to do this, Raja. This involves a little bit of writing DAX codes. If you are not aware of DAX codes, you may need to check some of my videos, D for DAX, for which the links are given in the description. In this example, we are not going to dive deep into DAX. I'm just going to show you the code that I have used to create this result. Prior to that, please remember that we are talking about two different slicers which are nothing but columns that are coming from the FY table. So if I'm going to show you the code with which I have achieved this result, I'm declaring a variable called title1 which says selected value from a table called FY, a column called fin year. Selected value is a DAX function that will identify if some value from a slicer is switched on or clicked by the user. Similarly, I am declaring another variable called title2 which identifies if at all anything is clicked in the quarter slicer that comes from FY table quarter column. After declaring the variables, I am returning them to the main stream of my DAX code. Then using a logical condition called a switch function, which is similar to your if condition. I am talking about the first scenario. User has not selected any value from slicer 1 and slicer 2. That is, fin year is blank, quarter is blank because they were not selected. So if it is blank, that is, title 1 is blank and also title 2 is blank, then I want a specific title. The second case could be user has not selected anything for title 1, which is nothing but the fin year value. However, the user has selected some value for title 2, that is the quarter value. Then I need title 2 to be used along with some text value. Otherwise, the next possibility is that the user might have selected a value from both the fin year slicer and the quarter slicer, and that is the final result that you can see in line number 8 of the DAX code. So with this DAX code, I am able to achieve this result. As informed earlier, if you want to learn DAX, probably you can check some of my other videos. In this video, our intention is to show you how we can create a dynamic title using DAX. I am now talking about the second scenario. A zone-wise information chart is seen in the screen, for which I have a zone slicer where I will be able to choose values according to my requirement. And the moment I choose a value for my slicer, you will be able to see that they are getting reflected in the visuals title. In case I am going to select all of them, the title will read the names of all the zones, maybe a little lengthy title, but that is what the user's requirement. Let me go back. Let me just choose two of them. Then you will be able to see whatever has been selected by me as a slicer value is being shown in the visuals title. You may now ask me a question, Raja, how this is being achieved? And the DAX function that I have used is called values. In addition to that, I am using a CONCATENATEX function also. Values is a table function that is going to create one column in a single table from a specified column that you are going to provide. For example, when you look at the formula, I am declaring a variable called getZone, in which the values function will reach to the table called state list and then identify the names of the zones, pick them up, and then create a column and then store distinct values from the zone column. The function called CONCATENATEX, which is an iterator function, will now move through the resultant column that was produced by values function. It will travel from row number 1 to row number last, pick up all those values and then provide them as a string which are being separated by a comma. So you can see a delimiter in line number 3 in the values function. And the purpose of the comma is to separate the values from each row using a comma. So this is the DAX function that I have used for this particular requirement. And let me now speak about the third requirement. In the scenario 3, we have a plain simple chart that has been filtered for top n values where n is 5. That means I am going to show only top 5 states based upon their bill values. The topmost state for this particular product is Odisha with this much of sales and so on. You may now ask me a question. Look, Mr. Raja, if you are talking about a top n that is equal to 5, why do you need a dynamic title? It's going to be a static one because you have already filtered the top n values. For example, if I am going to clear this filter, then there are many states, and the moment you are going to apply the filter here, it's going to be hardly 5 states. What are you talking about a dynamic here? Correct. Looks to be a very simple scenario. However, there could be a possible way in which your scenario will be challenged. For example, I am not talking about a particular product where you can see only 3 states which are identified as top 5 values. That is because these are the 3 states where the sales for the products are happening. Now you can see what exactly the title says. It now says top 3 states, which makes slightly better than somebody looking at that as top 5 states and then asking a question why it is showing only 3 states and so on. So you will appreciate that, yes, Raja, it is also important for creating a dynamic title even in this case. Let us have a look into the DAX measure that I am using for this scenario. I am declaring a variable called test count, which simply calculates the distinct count of the state names, and then it combines them with the 2 text strings called top and states, plain and simple. So this is the third DAX function or third DAX formula that I am talking. And the only question remaining is, everything fine, Raja, how do you declare that the DAX function should be the title of your visual? For example, if I am going to click on this visual, then move on to the format option, click on the general tab, click on title, you will be able to see there is an option here called FX. When you click on this FX, you will be able to identify what field should we base on this, for which you can choose your measure from the table which is holding the measure. So that is how I have created dynamic titles for the visuals in this example. You may have a different requirement. If you can kindly post that in the comment section, let me see if I could create a video for that and post it in the coming days. I'm just going to give you the slides as usual in the end, which you can read when time permits, in which you can see the DAX functions I have created along with explanations. These are the tables and columns you need to know. You are now watching JTM-2 video. In the JTM-3 video, you will find the difference in schedule refresh options when you load data from a SQL server. The scenario assumes that you have a Microsoft Power BI Pro license. Stay tuned. We discussed quite a few points in this video. Is any of them new for you? Kindly provide your responses in the comment section. You can also ask questions related to this topic. Such an interaction will help us provide you better videos. Thank you.